What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today we are back with another MENT/cycle update. You might be able to tell that I'm a bit more upbeat today than I have been recently, and there are a number of reasons for that I'm about to get into right now. Unfortunately, I'm not smiling because I got my blood test results back, because I still have not. But in the last video that I shot regarding my estrogen and the way my body is behaving during the cycle, that was titled something like "My Estrogen is Rising, Thus Spoke Zarathustra." If you have not seen that video, you definitely want to watch it before this video. There's some good information, I think, at the very end of it. But that all being said, in that video I basically described that I had started to see the signs and symptoms that my estrogen was on the rise. That I began crying or had to bite back tears while reading a passage from this book that in no way, shape, or form should have elicited any emotion. That is a telltale sign of rising estrogen levels. And then last night, man, I mean, the most remarkable thing happened. I cannot even fucking tell you. It is crazy fucking scary how controlled we really are by our hormones. So for the past week and a half or two, I have just been an absolute absentee father and husband, and I have just been checked out emotionally in every sense of the word. I have had absolutely zero libido, no desire to touch my wife, hold my wife, cuddle my wife. Didn't care if my wife was home. She's been, actually, it's kind of worked out, strangely. My mom has been in town for like the past 4 days. My mom is a hoarder. She always has been. And so she has these 2 storage buildings full of all this hoarded shit that she's collected over the years. But now she's 70 and she can't afford to pay for it. So she's being forced to dispose of it. So it's kind of an emotional time for her, of which I will have no part of, because my solution is to fucking throw it all away. But my wife has been laboring through this and helping her do all this. So she's basically been gone for large portions of the day, every day. And I have not given a shit. Normally, I would be very whiny and bitching about this because I'm very covetous of my wife's time. We spend an inordinate amount of time together, and I could not have cared less this entire past week. Last night, we're laying in bed and we're talking. I think she was fully clothed. She might have been nude. It doesn't really matter. But I just, all of a sudden, I kept catching myself looking at her body. And suddenly, I mean, just out of the blue, suddenly I become overcome with this desire to just be close to her, just touch her, just like feel her skin against mine. And I was like, oh. She's like, what? And I'm like, that's weird. Like, come here a second. So she rolls over and I kind of spoon up behind her and I wrap my arms around her and I could feel my wife again. There was like this intense release when I put my arms around her. There was something coming back to me. It was like suddenly I could detect that there was another human being laying next to me. I could feel her emotions and the sounds that her body makes when she's moving, or her breathing, or whatever. Like, it wasn't the annoyance it had been for days, the days prior. Like, suddenly I just wrapped my arms around her and it was like she was back. I could feel her for the first time in weeks. I mean, it was so acute. There's no way to express like the polar opposite difference of when literally the night before, I think it was, either the night before or the night before that, we had gone to bed and it was like our time. And I was doing something on my computer. I was fucking around Discord or something, and she fell asleep. She just passed out because she's been running ragged, going to and from the storage building and doing all this work with my mom, and she's just beat herself to death. They both have. And so it was our time, and she passed out. And normally this would have really set me off, because I'd be like, what the fuck, you know? You spend all this time wearing yourself out, now you've got nothing left for me. And the only thing I was feeling in that moment was irritation, because I could hear her breathing. And I was sitting next to her in bed trying to type on Discord, and I kept hearing the sound of the air going in and out of her nostrils, and I was just like, ugh. God, I'm gonna have to put my earplugs in. And suddenly I thought, dude, just let her sleep. She's beat. And so it was like, I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, oh shit, I could just leave her in here sleeping, and I can go out back into my office and do whatever I want till like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I just crept out of the bedroom and went about my day because I totally didn't care about spending any time with her at all. I had no desire. In fact, I was actually happy that she was passed out because then I didn't have to force myself to do this interaction that I couldn't feel anyway. And then last night, out of the blue, coincidentally, after all the signs of rising E2 had been present that day, when I reached out and touched her, I could feel her. And when I recognized that I could feel her, Darth Vader rose. Rise. And everything changed. The D game came back immediately. I was able to interact with my wife. There are a lot of ears in here right now, so I'm having to kind of talk around what I'm clearly trying. I was able to interact with my wife and be completely, totally functional for the first time in weeks and actually feel her as another human being close to me. This is a massive step forward in this process that I have been going through. And so now there were some hiccups, like hard to complete the act still. Prolactin is still very, very low. There's no doubt about that. But every other ability to function, to stay in the game, everything that you would expect to need to be firing on all cylinders was firing 100% as expected. And I find it more than a little bit coincidental that the thing that I have been saying since day one is that my D game has been broken because I had low estrogen. And then I start getting a few signs that estrogen is coming back. I start becoming emotional. I start getting sensitive nipples. I start feeling a little bit heavier. And then bang, right behind it comes all of the sexual functionality that has been missing for weeks. And so to me, right then and there, the jury is out. Again, obviously, I still have to have these test results to have some kind of basis because, you could, I guess, try to make the argument that maybe prolactin is slowly recovering because I've been off of cabergoline for a few days now. We're starting to get to the edge where the cabergoline would start to wear off, so maybe that has an effect. Although the lack of ability or the difficulty with the finish is indicative that prolactin is still low. Everything else that's going on is indicative of E2 is low, and it is now either recovered or recovering. Of course, this may end up not mattering if you've watched my last video because I am strongly considering never having to go through this again. So I'm actually considering, now that I've gotten my E2 back up, intentionally crushing it again for the express purpose of exogenously supplying my own estradiol levels so that I can keep them dialed in exactly where I want. That is still yet to be seen. I've got some work to do on my end before that can be a reality. And so what I definitely don't want to have happen is my estrogen to go from low to absurdly high and start getting all of the very negative side effects that come from that. So, as you might imagine, my cycle has changed again. So today I am now going to be running 600 milligrams of testosterone cypionate, 300 milligrams of nandrolone decanoate, also known as DECA, 100 milligrams of trenbolone E, 400 milligrams of masteron E, and today I added in what will at the end of the week equal 400 milligrams of primobolan E. The purpose of that is to hope that the primobolan will act as an AI and slow the rise of estrogen in my system. I am absolutely not convinced that this is going to work. I have run primobolan in the past and did not find it to be a potent AI. I cannot remember the dose that I ran it at though. I think I only ran it at 200 milligrams, which is why I've decided to go straight to the fucking dome with 400 milligrams out the gate to start. So I have pinned 200 milligrams of Primo E today. So that is the injectables. I am slowly tapering off of my MK dose, trying to reset my appetite, and I have already noticed some weight loss. I'm usually at around 211 pounds in the morning, and I was down around maybe 210, upper 209 this morning. So my eating has not been as good. And a lot of things have just been out of whack recently. My mom's been here, and so my schedule's kind of off. And my wife and I are not spending as much time together, and I usually eat a lot when we're spending time together, and instead I'm sitting here playing video games and making videos, and that is definitely not conducive to a good appetite. I get too much dopamine from sitting in front of this computer, and then I don't eat. So it may not be the falling MK677 dose that's causing it. It could just be that I'm not eating well. I am trying to offset the lack of MK677 with the use of GHRP6, and I am upping those doses. Usually I take 300 micrograms a couple times a day. Whenever I think about it, I'm taking 400. I've taken 400 micrograms twice today. Probably gonna take another 400 micrograms. I'm probably just gonna bang the shit out of GHRP6 to try to maximize, to try to stabilize, or what am I saying? To try to maintain my appetite to the best of my ability in the absence of MK. I'm hoping that I can drop the MK rather quickly. I'm coming down at about 5 milligrams per day. So I'm going to try to bring the MK out of my system rapidly. I'm going to try to make it a week without the MK and then go right back up in hopes that it will re-antagonize my ghrelin receptors and get me back to eating. We'll see. I don't know. My stomach already does not feel good with the falling MK dose. I had toyed with just continuously raising the dose from, I'd gone up to 30, maybe 35, 40, 45, 50. How high can you go on MK677? I don't know. I've got plenty of it to test with. But I decided to try lowering it for a little while because, again, I cannot just always go back up. So that's where we are compound-wise. I have not taken Arimidex in 11 days. 11 days. I think that makes it pretty much definitive that my estrogen at the beginning of this whole debacle was low. I don't know how it could have possibly been high. And then I had all of this gear that I've added and no Adex for 11 days, and I don't look like the fucking Michelin Man. I think that definitively, if my estrogen had been high when people were telling me that it should have been on paper, then I would look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And I don't, as you can see. So I think, again, we're just waiting on confirmation from this lab, but I think that I have attacked this from every conceivable angle to prove that my feel meter is accurately dialed in. But we won't know. We won't know until whoever now it's the lab gods that I'm waiting on. So I'm recording this video right now at 9:23 p.m. on June 29th. I have no idea when you will be seeing it. The last video I shot today went straight up, I think. I still have another video that's been pending approval now for 2.5 days. So not looking good on that one. But I wanted to come on here and just make this video because I've been crying for 2 weeks about broke D game, and last night it finally returned. And for me, that really seals the deal on the causal factor being low estrogen that has now risen back to some type of physiological state. And it is making me even more convinced at this point that taking control over this demon is the best thing, the best way to move forward. If I should decide not to intentionally crash it, then we're going to be back to playing the game of how much aromatizable compounds do I need to offset 15 milligrams of MENT per day? And what happens if I change my MENT dose? Because the goal originally was to get up to 25 milligrams of MENT per day. Because the MENT is supposed to be this unbelievably powerful, potent drug that's going to do all these really incredible things in my body. And so the objective was to try to get to a super physiological, well, I mean, it's already super physiological. The clinical dose of MENT is like 600 to 800 micrograms per day, and I'm already at 15 milligrams. But plenty of people have used it up to 25 and higher and gotten good results, and I'm an idiot who likes to tinker, so that's what apparently I'm doing. In the background, I am also kind of convinced that it is time for me to test the waters and push my total androgen load up into the 2+ gram per week territory if for no other reason than to just see what it feels like, to see how well my body tolerates it, to see if it does spur any new muscle growth. And since apparently my objective here is to do every single thing humanly possible to bring about my early demise, I'm probably going to throw in 8 IUs of GH. So basically just everything. I'm just going to go to QSC. I'm going to order everything on the list, and we're just going to pin all of it at once, and we'll call it like a quality control study. Maybe they can, when they do the autopsy, then that will serve as the quality control for QSC, because then they'll be able to find every single compound that I thought I was using and whether or not that they were actually in my system at the time of arrival to the afterlife. I don't know, dude. The good news is I'm in a much better mood. When I pinned that 200 milligrams of Primo earlier, I know what y'all are gonna say. Doesn't make any sense. I felt that shit. I guess it's placebo. I don't know. Every time I take Primo, it's just like Masteron. I just feel uplifted. It just feels like I just took a Lexapro or something. Suddenly, the clouds are a better color. You know, everything's got a prettier hue to it. Maybe it's just a combination of the fact that my estrogen is coming out of the toilet, and my wife left earlier to go work in the storage unit with my mom, and she'd probably been gone for like 20, maybe 30 minutes, probably not even that long. And I texted her, I was like, oh my God, I miss you. Like, I haven't missed her all week. For the first time, she left, and I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. And so maybe I'm just returning to being a human being again. I'm telling you, man, crashing your estrogen will turn you into some kind of an absolute monster. If you ever get into a situation, like if you go through a bad breakup or something where you need to absolutely not have any feelings, crash your estrogen into the toilet and you will not give a fuck about anything. But that's not where we are today. Today we are seriously giving a fuck about these pecs, these shoulders, this marriage, these kids, this life. Hoping things are going to start falling into place. I have potential employment lined up. My car should be getting here eventually, sometime, maybe, possibly. I don't know. BMW does not seem to want me representing their brand. I don't know why. I think I'm a great representative of obviously any business and any brand, but they're taking their sweet ass fucking time getting me my car. So hopefully we'll get test results. We will get a car. We will get a package that I've been waiting on. I want to buy my wife some new Christian Louboutin, sexy ass pumps. I have a lot of things in the works. I want to get to 230 pounds. This is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to try to accomplish in the days and weeks to follow. And of course, I will bring all of you along with along for the ride. You may have noticed that I'm communicating in the comment section a lot less. That is because Discord has just taken over. Discord is just phenomenal. There's just a phenomenal group of people over there, and I have the ability to absolutely remove anyone that I don't want to waste time with. And so it's like, you know, it's like half the people who well, that's not true. There's plenty of good people in the comments, but that's just one of the reasons that I've been interacting a lot less. It's way easier to ignore the trolls in the comments on YouTube now, because it's like it's not my primary form of communication anymore. So that's why that has changed a little bit. Definitely come join the Discord. It is popping off 24 hours a day. So there you have it. I think I've rambled on long enough for this video. Hopefully it will come out straight away, but who knows? I can tell you where it will definitely be within 30 minutes of its release, and that is where the real men are, on OF, baby. So join me there. As always, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.